We've been joined by my good personal friend, Michelle. His wife, Martha, is off camera. And Michelle, as you may recall, is a soil scientist. And he is going to, I don't know, you want to talk about the myths of fairy circles, or are you just going to go straight to the facts?
I don't know the myths. Do you know the myths?
I'm kind of familiar with the myths.
Why don't you tell me about the myths and we'll go from there.
Well, there was a couple of women who live on this road. And they come, well, their ancestors came from cultures like Ireland and Scandinavia. I'm going to say Sweden, but I don't think it was Sweden. And of course, the Czechs and the Slovaks. So they had a whole thing. Oh, well, that's where the fairies have their meetings. And so each one of the toadstools, the fairies sit on them and they debate weighty subjects. Or sometimes it's like they dance around them. Either way, you're not supposed to interrupt the circle. Because if you, and you're only supposed to walk around the circle clockwise, I think. Okay. I don't know.
That's basically what the science says too. No different.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, just kidding.
No, I know. I just hope some of the people. Anyway, so as a soil scientist, as someone who professionally studies soil and who knows the difference between bacteria and fungi, why don't you tell us what you know?
Well, I'm no expert on fairy rings, but I do know a little bit about the bacteria and the fungi in the soil. I know a little bit more about what they do in terms of nutrient cycling than I do about some of the other things they do. But fungi and bacteria are just very different groups. The fungi are as different from bacteria as, say, we are from bacteria.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's just a huge difference in the way that their cells are built. And in the soil, they tend to do different things.
Mm-hmm.
Bacteria, they're very diverse. Like in a handful of soil, there's about 10,000 species of bacteria and fungi. And we don't know what most of those are.
Okay.
We can measure the differences based on DNA analyses, but that doesn't tell us what they do. It just tells us how they might be related to each other, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And it tells us we can determine differences that different ones are different species.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one species of fungus that made the fairy rings, and fungi tend to eat. They both eat carbon like we do. You know, when we eat a sandwich, that's all made of carbon. The carbon is what we use to build our bodies, and we exhale the CO2. You know, that's the same molecules of carbon that were in the sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that also goes to maintaining our bodies, to building us up, and to having us grow. And it's the energy to live through the day, right? And we need about 2,000 calories a day, right? So those calories are in the form of carbon, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the bacteria and the fungi also eat carbon.
Mm-hmm.
And the bacteria tend to eat carbon that is more readily available, so like sugars,
right,
and proteins and things that are very easy to digest. And the fungi tend to eat much more recalcitrant is kind of the word we use, carbon, so like complex carbohydrates.
Right.
But they actually use even more complex things than complex carbohydrates.
So complex carbohydrates are like pasta and...
even more complicated, so like, complex carbohydrate would be, things found in unprocessed foods.
Right.
And in vegetables and in grains, like you said, and in like beans and things like that. Less so in meat and stuff like that. But so the fungi tend to eat more complex carbohydrates. A lot of them specialize actually in decaying wood, dead wood, or the eating on the roots that are in the soil. And so that stuff's very hard to eat, hard to digest.
Okay.
Like you and I couldn't digest it. The bacteria can't digest it, but the fungi can digest it.
Okay.
And they're very slow at it, but they can do it. And so the fairy ring that you saw in the video is the mushrooms, like you said. And a mushroom is what's called the fruiting body of a fungus.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's one organism down there or if there's 100 organisms that produce those mushrooms. I'm thinking it's probably closer to one, but I really don't know that. And to reproduce, they make these mushrooms that create spores.
Right.
And the spores go forth and multiply, so to speak. And they can only make those mushrooms during conditions that are right. So it happens when it rains, when there's enough water.
Right.
And that's what I know in general, but I can't tell you too much specific about the fairy ring mushrooms per se. It's
So,
really cool.
so nix the fairies, nix the elves. We're just talking about the straight science. And the science is like there's nothing magic or amazing. I mean, it's amazing.
It's amazing. Still
yeah,
amazing, right?
Yeah, it's an amazing visual, botanical feature, and it's just something to look at. But no, you won't be in a car crash, or you won't get divorced because the fairies won't come and get you at night.
Yeah.
So like I said, forget all that stuff about the fairy tales and stuff. We're scientists, and we stick with science.
And so what's important about what they're doing, right, is if there weren't these bacteria and fungi, they're kind of, I'm also a bird watcher.
Yeah.
And in the bird watching world, the vultures are the ones that eat the dead stuff that's already dead.
Mm-hmm.
And if we didn't have vultures, for instance, or other animals that eat dead things, we'd just have dead animals all around. Right? We'd be walking through dead animals. That'd be no fun, right?
Yeah.
So you need these animals that recycle the dead animals and get them back into the
food chain.
The food chain. Perfect. Thank you. And so these fungi and all the bacteria also, but these fungi are critical parts of the food chain that without them we wouldn't be here because the nutrients wouldn't cycle and the food chain wouldn't exist. And the circle of life, as some artists call it, which I think is an apt metaphor that can work in science too.
Yes, and it's a beautiful metaphor.
It is a beautiful metaphor.
And this is the reason why we go to experts.
Aha, that's why we do it.
Yeah. So anyway, again, thank you for joining us. If this is the kind of content you want to see, where people have good conversations about real stuff without calling each other names, without shouting, without yelling, tune back in for another episode of the Hawkins STEM Chronicles. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Lawrence.